Not at all the way you want to start a 6-game homestand. Keith Pompey, Sixers get absolutely blown out and embarrassed by the Cleveland Cavaliers, but we have the pleasure of breaking it all down for you. All that and more in this edition of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And we do thank you for making Locked On 76ers an early live edition of Locked On 76ers. I think you're making this part of your day, every day. Locked On 76ers. That's what you got there. So make sure you like and subscribe. Keith Pompey, your beat writer for Inquirer.com. Marc Farzetta, a veteran Philly sports talker with you. That was terrible yesterday. We're going to go through it all. As I said in the short after the game, a sour start to the homestand is certainly a way you could put that. Donovan Mitchell actually comes alive in that second half, most notably the third quarter. Dom Barlow goes down in this one. Cavs also suffer an injury as well. And note the question mark on our graphic here on the screen for the people on the podcast. It's not Better Friday. It's Better Friday kind of thing. So, Keith, that was terrible. There was no point where I was like, oh, here come the Sixers, because any little flare of hope that got shot up during the game. Like here's the example I'll use just real quick. Third quarter, Donovan Mitchell's absolutely going off. Jabari Walker gets a steal, goes all out, dives, tips it to Maxey. Maxey gets the fast break, throws it down for the slam. Place goes absolutely berserk. And I'm like, they're still down double digits. No one should be that excited. No one should be. It was everything the Sixers did to start anything quickly squashed by the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we talked about it. Like this was it was going to be a test, right? And it was quickly squashed. But we talked about how this is a tough matchup for the 76ers. You know, you look at it, they have explosive guards, but they also have towering 7-foot perimeter players. And one of them, Evan Mobley, is the reigning defensive player of the year, right? So when you look at that, and another guy, Jared Allen, always gets up to play against Joel Embiid, because when he first came in the league, Embiid used to embarrass him and bully him and all types of things. So now that he's grown, he's strong. I'm just saying he's just older.
Yeah, he got that man strength now.
He got that man strength, and he gets motivated against the 76ers. So it was bad. But here's the crazy thing. It reminded me of high school basketball. The coach tried to say college, but nah, you saw that in high school, slow-mo high school, meaning they had 41 assists on 50 made baskets. 41 assists on 50 made baskets. That was crazy. They out-rebounded them. They did a lot. Maxey, he kind of struggled. He had 14 points. VJ Edgecombe struggled, right? Embiid played okay he played okay shooting the ball, but he turned the ball over 6 times. So it was one of those things where they just got whipped. I hate to say it, they just got whipped.
Yeah.
And
four turnovers for Embiid in the first quarter, and one worse than the other. Traveling calls I thought were legit travel calls, but it was rough. Now here's the thing. There are different parts throughout this game where the Sixers got some great looks. They swung the ball around well at times sparingly, but at times thinking, again, all right, maybe this is where they get something going. And Maxey would miss from the top of the key. Paul George would miss from the corner. Quentin Grimes would miss from the elbow extended on the perimeter. Things like that you would see throughout this game where you go, okay, they're just missing shots. It's not their night type of thing. But then you're also watching it, and I guess it's as the second quarter's going on, as the third quarter's going on, and you see Donovan Mitchell really start to turn it on. You just really notice that the Sixers just look like lifeless. Like the old adage of the first game back after a homestand, or excuse me, after a road trip is kind of lethargic. I've heard that a lot, but this seemed certainly on that note of lethargic. And then I heard Nick Nurse after the game say that the Cleveland Cavaliers just absolutely took it to us. They certainly had a lot more energy than us for whatever reason, that kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, well, I know it's not just me. Did you notice kind of a lack of energy there from the 76ers?
That's a tough one too, though, because the worst game, since I've been covering the league, I noticed the worst game for some teams are basically the first game back from a road trip. And I get it. It was only a 3-game road trip, but a lot of times that's the worst game back. I mean, especially because after a back-to-back, just because you travel in, you get in the middle of the night, whatever, you just sleep, you rest, you're tired, and then the next day you got a game, right? So, I did see that. I did see more energy than that they had than the other ones. But I also thought it could have been a little bit of tired legs. I mean, because if you think about it, they've been playing a lot of games, right? So, I mean, but at the same time, I really think that when we look at it, you got PG in his 30s, Joel Embiid in his 30s. I know Tyrese Maxey is young, VJ Edgecoat is young, but everybody in their starting lineup is young guns. And also, they're motivated. They like playing the Sixers. And here's something else. I will say this, and it does seem that way every time the Sixers play them. The Sixers come out sluggish, and his team is throwing haymakers. And that's the reason why they beat the Sixers 5 of the last 6 times. And the last 2 times they played them, they hung 130 on them, right? So it's just a bad matchup. But, yeah, they look sluggish. And there's a lot of reasons you can say it, but I think that team just has their number. That's why I'm excited to see what happens later on.
Friday? Or you mean
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I did crunch some numbers here. The Sixers are now 4-6 in their first game after a road game. So the first game at home after a road game, they dropped to 4-6. Now they got a bad road or home record anyway. They're 500 at home now. But after a road game, they come home, not a road trip necessarily, just a road game. They're 4-6 in those games when they return home. After a road trip of 2 or more games, they return home and they're 2-2 on the season in those games. So bottom line is overall, you just look at their record and they're a 500 team at home. But also when it comes back from the road, they're not playing well at all when they come back from those games. So are we in a similar scenario like we were in when we're talking about the Sixers having massive struggles in the third quarter where they just can't figure it out? They can't crack the code. Are we in a similar circumstance, or at least approaching a similar circumstance, when they can't just crack the code on when they return from a, albeit 1-game road trip, or in this matter, a 3-game road trip? They don't know how to get up for that game in their first game back.
Yeah, they got to do better. They have to do better. But it's also, I do think that it was a lot of times when we thought about it, they had so many people banged up and injured that they were playing so many people extended minutes where they was just gassed too, right? And they were struggling. But yeah, they're when you look at it too, like their home record is worse, is worse than their road record. So it's a lot of stuff. You pinpointed that yesterday, but it's a lot. They do have to get over that. I mean, you do. I mean, because my thing is, I am right about teams being sluggish, but championship teams, contending teams, find a way to overcome that stuff. You know what I mean? They find a way to overcome that.
Break out the smelling salts. Let's get it going, fellas. All right. When we come back, there's a little meat left on the bone there I want to talk about a little bit more, and that really comes down to Donovan Mitchell's performance, because I don't know if you had the same vibe I did last night watching that first half, Keith. It was just like, Mitchell hasn't even gotten it going yet. And boy, did he when he did. We'll talk about that when we return. And also, Dom Barlow going down in this. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. Back after this.
I carry a lot of responsibility in my household. If something happened to me, there would be serious consequences. We have a mortgage. We got tuition. We got everyday bills. Those aren't going anywhere if something happens to me. And I know that's an overwhelming feeling, but I'm taking steps to protect my family by getting life insurance through Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast, easy, and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. And as of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/lockdownNBA. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/lockdownNBA. That's ethos.com/lockdownNBA. Ethos.com/lockdownNBA. Application times and rates may vary.
All right, Keith. 8 points. That's what Donovan Mitchell had in the first half of the game. 8 points. Respectively, Garland, Mobley, 14 and 13 points. The whole time I'm watching that first half, I'm going, all right, the Sixers better have a run in that third quarter, which is a rarity, unfortunately, this season, because you know Donovan Mitchell is going to go on a heater at some point. And did 20 points. 20 points in the third quarter alone for Donovan Mitchell. He finished with 35 in 33 minutes. He was just on fire. Everything he threw up went in. That was just that. He was getting his shots. He was taking guys off the dribble, even though I still think that dribble that he does is a carry, but whatever. That's no excuse. He dominated the Sixers in that third quarter, Keith. Career high, by the way, matched his career high for points in the third quarter with 20.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of those guys where you keep saying to yourself, oh, he's really not that good. I mean, he's okay, but he's really not that good. And then you see him and you're like, yeah, he's really that good. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, one of those. And the reason why I say he's really not that good, and I shouldn't say that, is because nowadays you look at these guys and you see these undersized two guards and you're saying to yourself, okay, he's going to crack. And sometimes he does crack in the playoffs, right? They do. Like they crumble because they're small. But he's
last year,
last year. But he's averaging, like I looked it up, right? I'm gonna get these stats against. Okay, so look, in his last 3 games against the Sixers, he scored 35 points, 46 points, and 37 points, right? And he's averaging 28 points and 6.6 assists in 10 games against the Sixers after being traded to Cleveland from the Utah Jazz on September 3rd, 2022. So this guy, he's just dominating the Sixers. I mean, he's just attacking their guards left and right. And as you say, it could have been worse, dude. I mean, if you think about it, he didn't even play a lot of minutes. It could have been worse, but it just seems like he's a very explosive guard. It's funny. I feel bad for him. I have a vote for All-Star.
Sure.
I didn't vote him first team, and afterwards I'm thinking like, I'm glad he doesn't know that right now.
Maybe he found out, Keith. Maybe that's why he went off in that second quarter. Maybe somebody in that third quarter. That's that Keith Pompey guy didn't even vote for you first.
Yeah.
What? 20 points. All right. This is I don't know the severity of this. I think the word contusion was thrown out there for Dom Barlow. He went down really hard in the second quarter, I believe it was.
It was a third, the beginning of the second half. Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Yeah, I got it. All right. Third quarter. He goes up for a dunk, gets a shot blocked, goes down hard. What do you know about Dom Barlow?
So he had an X-ray, and the X-rays were clean. You could say clean, negative, what have you. They're going to give him a MRI probably today, most likely today, just to make sure everything is cool. It's funny because you talk to Paul George after the game, and he was talking about the injuries and how this team is being snake bitten. He was talking about and we finally settled on a starting lineup, but now it looks like we're going to have a new starting lineup on Friday. So like it's crazy. So the Sixers are probably going to say questionable, doubtful, whatever. They may even come out and say he's out. But talking to Paul George, he believes that they're going to have someone else in that starting lineup come Friday.
All right. So what direction? Oubre enter the fray? Does Bona get a start at power forward? Like, how do you think they solve that problem?
Dude, that's a tough one.
Jabari Walker.
I want to say Oubre, right? But we're talking about 2 7-footers, right? Jabari Walker played with a lot of energy in that game. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but he played with a lot of energy. I think that maybe it could be him. I mean, you can go with Bona, but I don't know. Like I think that I would probably go with Jabari. The only reason I wouldn't go with Jabari, I mean, I would love to go with Kelly, right? Mm-hmm. But the only reason I wouldn't go with Jabari is because who's going to come off the bench and going to provide that energy that he provides, right? But Bona, but then that means, see, here's the problem with Bona and Drummond. Bona jumps for everything, and so he's a foul waiting to happen. And as good as Drummond is and a great rebounder, I just think that their athleticism is just a little bit too much for him at this stage of his career, right? Okay. So that's the problem right then and there. But I don't know. Like, I'm thinking I would go with Jabari Walker on this one.
Yeah, I think that's the way they're going to go. And Oubre, to me, I think is still working his way up to the idea of if you need that starter again, he can do it. I don't think he's there just yet. Walker logged you 15 last night. Bona logged you 11 last night. One thing I will say about Bona, first off, let's celebrate in 11 minutes, no fouls. So the parade will be around the practice facility. I look forward to it. But Bona goes out there last night, and you talk about a guy looking determined. He was looking determined to try to score that basketball. He had a couple of real good, hard moves to the basket. And I know that's like something that you would applaud a grade schooler for. But when you're talking about a guy trying to build his confidence, especially on the offensive end, and obviously not foul on the defensive end, it was a good sign for a Dem Bona. But if I was sitting next to Nick Nurse and he was asking me, hey, who should I bring in here? I would still go with Kelly Oubre. I would still have Kelly Oubre, who has experience as a starter. You bring someone else who can shoot from the outside, can still play good defense. Ready or not, dude, it's time to get in. Team needs you. And you're the guy with starters experience. I like Walker coming off the bench, providing that spark. I like Bona coming off the bench if you need another guy to be in that 4 spot as well. But if Nick Nurse is asking me, I'm going Oubre number 1.
The only reason why I'm going with PG is because going with Jabari is because I think that, I just think that Evan Mobley is a little bit too much for PG right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? So yeah. I just feel like when you have these towering type centers now, again, we're talking about a dude who's athletic as heck. So you can say, well, maybe PG can take him outside and do a little wiggle on him and get past him and do stuff. Nah, it ain't happening, bro. Not with him, right? So I just looking at it as like the height disadvantage. He's just a 7-footer. Now I know PG is probably about 6'9", and I know that Jabari Walker is smaller and stuff like that. But I just seems like there are certain people who have guard-like skills, right? And there's other people who, have power forward post player skills. And Jabari just has that, So, but I get it. Kelly is, I think that Kelly is a starter, but just for this matchup, I just feel a little uneasy about. It's not about Kelly, it's about Paul. What is he going to do against him on the defensive end?
Fair enough. One more name. We mentioned Barlow's injury in the beginning of the third quarter. Darius Garland goes down last night in the third quarter, left the game, did not return with a foot injury. He just came back from a toe injury, I think it was.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll be in the lineup Friday for the Cavs?
It's funny because the coach, Kenny Atkinson, said that after the game, he said Darius Garland and Sam Morrell are both doubtful. He believes that they're doubtful. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about how the Sixers team bounces back on Friday. And I want to embrace theories of, they've been home for a game now, so they'll bounce back, that type of thing. We'll break that down. But, man, it's going to take a lot for the Sixers team to look better than what they looked like yesterday. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. Make sure you like and subscribe. Back after this. Now it's time to tell you about Wayfair. Hey, congratulations. You've made it through the holidays, folks. Well, if you still need to spruce up your house, right, you're going to be in it winter months, for instance, cold temperatures coming back, you might as well have some nice things to look at in a style you like, a style that Wayfair can provide, because Wayfair has something for everyone. In the new year here, it's a perfect time to reset your routine, refresh your space as well. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love the look and feel of your home, and that's where Wayfair enters the fray. Wayfair has everything you need, from full home refreshes, all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your workspace, whatever it might be, Wayfair's got you covered. I honestly absolutely love using Wayfair, whether it's as simple as new curtains, whether it's a Murphy bed, maybe for that room that you have that's a office and guest room. Flip that Murphy bed down. You're in business, literally. All right, get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home with Wayfair at wayfair.com. And let's not forget about the Everydayer Club as well. Go to lockedon76ers.supercast.com to sign up to be an Everydayer Club member. And we do thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network out there. You get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On 76ers, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast application. So check it out, lockedon76ers.supercast.com to sign up to be an Everydayer Club member. So Sixers going to find their game, Keith, on a Friday? They're going to figure out how to beat this Cavs team, and they're going to keep Donovan Mitchell in check? How's it play out on Friday?
You know what? It's going to be tough. Like we talked about that before. Now here's the thing. I wonder, Darius Garland. See, the big thing about the 76ers were that, the big thing about Cleveland was that whenever one of the guards would focus on one of the guards, the other one would take off. Or one would have a great first half, the other one would have a good second half, right? My question is, without Darius Garland and without Sam Morrell, who is their sixth man, are the 76ers going to be able to take advantage of that, right? And so I think that will be their best chance, but that's going to involve them shutting down Donovan Mitchell big time. And I just don't know. Like, I honestly think that this is just a bad matchup for them. They just are. Like, do you see how they just block shots and they just do a lot of other things? And not only that, we're talking about the 2 7-footers. Well, they got other long dudes on coming off the bench too, a bunch of 6'9s and 6'8s, right? So to me, I just feel like this is going to be a tough matchup. And I know the 76ers are talking about is about energy, is about effort, is about this and that. But it's been the same way for 5 of the last 6 games that you played them, right? You guys go and get destroyed. So for me, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Like,
how do you say yes? How do you say yes?
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to.
133 to 107. That's not exactly confidence inspiring.
Nah. And it was like, let's think about it. You can look at it 2 ways. The 76ers had a chance to come back, but they took the starters out, or Cleveland had a chance to score 150 on them and they took the starters out. You know what I mean? So
yes,
it's like Kenny Atkinson is a great coach. I really like him. He's a good coach. Great coach, not good, great coach. But this is a good team. Now, here's the one thing. This team is extremely inconsistent. They normally get motivated for playing against the 76ers. Now it's like, okay, we just came off of a bad loss to the Utah Jazz, right? So we were motivated, and the Sixers, we always get up to play the Sixers. Now you just defeated the Sixers. You're in Philadelphia today, just chilling, having a good time. And you may say, well, we beat them the last 2 times we hung 130 on them. If they overlook the Sixers have a chance. If they get a little bit complacent, the Sixers have a chance. Overconfident, the Sixers have a chance. Outside of that, I think it's going to be another loss.
See, I'm with you. Now, when you talk about pulling focus, and I agree with what Mr. Sandman's saying here in our chat, Mitchell took it personally because Maxey was getting more recognition. I absolutely believe that had something to do with it. People that brush this aside realize, you're playing so many games as a professional athlete. Now, I know in the NBA it's not exactly as true as maybe some others, but the one thing I always talk about when people talk about bulletin board material, it doesn't always have to be that something. It's like not like Maxey was like, well, yeah, Donovan Mitchell sucks and I'm great. It's not like that. It's not that kind of bulletin board material. It's just that a guy beating you in the All-Star voting, a guy that's got the edge on you as well when it comes to overall scoring in the league. Maxey, third and Mitchell fifth, I believe. I think it's something around there.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make a point as a player. And there are certainly games that players have circled on the schedule. And to your point, Keith, I think the Sixers are absolutely one of those for the Cavs. And I think Tyrese Maxey is one of those players that Donovan Mitchell absolutely gets up to play. So I think this is a game, and if you want to call it a two-game series, Maxey referred to it as you have to treat it like a playoff series where you can get him the next time. I think Mitchell's doing the same thing. Like, what he's hung 41 on, or sorry, he's hung 81 points on the Sixers, I think, in the last two games. That's pretty damn good. This is an example, I think, where he wants to make a point. And if you're talking about pulling focus, this is a chance.
Yeah, that's a chance. But here's my question to that. And it sounds great. But what happened to the other games when he was torching them? Like, he's been destroying the Sixers. Like,
he's always been pissed at Ben Simmons. I think he still holds that grudge.
Yeah. Because here, I'm gonna just give you his points totals, right?
Okay.
So since he's been with Cleveland, so he had 35 last night, 46 the game before that, then 37, then 19, 23, 12. Whoever held him to 12, that was great defense. Then he had 36, 21, 33, and 18 against them. So they held them, below 20 3 times. And then 2 other games he had 20, 23, and then 21. But after that, he was all like in the 30s.
Good God.
Like, it's crazy. So I get what everybody's saying, but this stuff goes back to last year. You know what I mean? To 2023 too. 2022 was the first game he played against him. He only had 18 points, but he had 18 points in 26 minutes.
I think he learned at a very young age just hate the Sixers, and I blame Ben Simmons for
it. Yeah.
Keith Pompey, that was crazy. The whole wearing the rookie definition sweater. Hoodie, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was great. By the way, I take back everything I said. Donovan Mitchell should have been the rookie of the year. Anyway, Keith Pompey, Marc Farzetta, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Locked On 76ers. We appreciate you guys in the chat as well. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow to preview, hopefully, what will be a 76ers win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. See you then.